That was Emerald Studios.
Yeah.
At one point. That's where the Outlaws recorded and everything.
Really?
It was built by Eamon Stevens and Eddie Rapid.
Right.
Spent a lot of time in there.
So it's lovely them. I'm travelling with Bil
A friend of mine
VornDick, and we're on Music Row, and he's just showing me the hot spots and high shots. So where's your place, Bil?
Oh, well, I'll show you some of the studios I built.
Yeah.
My place is on the west side of town.
Okay.
I live on the highest ridge on the west side of town. I look down on Nashville. Got 30 quiet acres up there. Now that was a Loretta Lynn's building originally.
Nice.
And there's a couple, 3 or 4 houses here. And that Swap Music Group was over there. And that's Curb Records. Now that studio right there,
Yeah.
I built in 1983 after Marty died. And now it's Curb Studio.
Right.
And Cedarwood Publishing Company was right here.
Yeah.
That's where I signed in 1969.
Right.
And that was the front of the, there used to be a house there. And that was where the Quonset hut was. Combine Music was over here on the left.
Yeah.
This whole little section was like a buzz area.
Right.
Now, CBS bought an apartment building that was here.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to disturb the Quonset hut.
Nice.
Because the Quonset hut was built in 1954.
And that was built for the
By Owen Bradley and Harold Bradley.
yeah. Well, concert huts in Britain are Nissen huts.
Nissen
And they were put up during the war.
Yeah.
For military organisation.
Now
just
we're gonna get out here so you can actually see that building right there.
Yeah.
Was the Quonset hut.
Right.
But it didn't look like that
No.
until CBS bought it.
Okay.
So if you look up there on the roof, can you see the bend in the roof?
Oh yeah, I can see
That's
it.
the
Yeah,
Quonset
that's the
hut.
hut itself.
And
yeah.
then the cinder block building was added on the end for the
Yeah.
reverb chambers.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now this is CBS Studio A,
Yeah.
and the front of it was where the offices were.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now if you turn over here,
Yeah.
where it says Black River
I
Entertainment,
see it
that was
when I
Ronnie
see it.
Millsap's studio.
Really?
And gosh, I made a lot of records in there.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the Flecktone records were mixed
right.
in there.
Right.
And then next to that was Soundstage
Yeah.
Studios, which is now owned by Black River.
Yeah.
Now this building right over here was Huey Long's building,
Yeah.
and I rented half of the building on the second floor.
Yeah.
That's where the Alison Krause's
That's-
first albums and the
Jerry Douglas. all that
Jerry
thing.
Douglas, Bela Fleck.
Yeah.
Back when it was Sound Connection, and then I took it over and called it Music Row Audio.
Yeah.
But gosh, George Jones originally used to have offices up there on the second
Yeah,
floor.
really?
But I can't tell you some of the stories
got it, so
because
you're
you're
the-
recording.
No, I got it here.
I can't tell you some of this
Right,
recording.
okay, I'll turn it off later.
I'll
but-
tell you later. Just
yeah, yeah.
remind me.
So this is, we're talking about 24 hours a day then. Music,
Well,
24 hours party
Till
the
about,
rest of the time.
till about 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sessions start at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Engineers get there about 8:30, get things set up, and
Yeah.
the tape machines aligned.
Yeah.
We start tracking at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then we have a break between 1 o'clock and
Yeah.
2 o'clock
Yeah.
for lunch, and then a break between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then we'd have a break between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we would, that studio I built on the corner, I was doing 4 sessions a day.
Yeah.
When I was at Marty Robbins, I'd be doing 4 sessions a day.
Yeah. Man.
So it
And did
got a little crazy.
did you know that you were making history at the time, or was it just work?
No. It was just something, a passion that I had ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
and something I wanted to do. And I was very fortunate to have Frank Grist bring me to Nashville in '69 in June.
Yeah.
And I signed a bunch of songs to Cedarwood Publishing Company, and would come down about every 3 or 4 months and turn in another song.
Yeah.
Until, you know, as I said, Chet, you know, told me about Belmont, and then and that was Master Phonics over there, where it says Loud Recording on it. That was Master Phonics, the mastering facility.
Yeah. So you didn't have to move very far to find everything and everybody.
No, you just walk around.
Yeah.
Everything was within like 4 or 5 blocks.
Yeah. And a phone call away.
Yeah.
And all the musicians were a phone call away.
Oh yeah.
Well, Bil VornDick showing me around Nashville. How happy am I? I got to meet Owen Bradley's daughter today, Bill.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah, and she was just fabulous. She spent,
Patsy?
Yeah, Patsy. She spent
she's dear.
She spent all the time in the world. She didn't get bored in my company. I must have been in her company for half an hour, and she just told me
Should
about.
we ask him?
See? Yeah. I was at the Country Music Hall of Fame, and we were stood right beside the construction of Owen's office. And she told me about how that place had burnt down and how they'd managed to reclaim that.
I just did a whole thing in that building in TPot Studio A.
Yeah.
Last month, the history of Bradley's Barn.
Oh man.
I hosted it.
I would have loved to see that. So he moved from concept up to Bradley's Barn. Was that because of the capacity wasn't big enough here to support what was going down?
Yeah. And Combine Music was there.
Yeah.
And Cedarwood was next to it, and in the basement of the Combine studio was the Rat Hole. You've heard the Wilburn Brothers.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Wilburn Brothers' house there. That was their offices over there.
They had a television series, didn't they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It was kind of more cheesy than some of them.
Now that apartment building over there is pretty much where like Willie and Chris and everybody lived.
Yeah.
And there's Warner Brothers, the new Warner Brothers records over here on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And Dick James Music wrote a bunch of songs for Elvis.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you hang with Elvis?
I actually met him in back of Cedarwood one day.
Yeah.
And that's a hotel, and then here's BMI.
Okay.
It's the biggest building on Music Row.
So that's where the money is, eh?
That's where it is. And this is the Buddy Killen Circle.
Tell me about Buddy.
Buddy Killen was had Tree Publishing Company.
Yeah.
With Jack Stepp.
Yeah.
And he worked for Jack, and then he took over, and then they merged with Sony ATV.
This is a roundabout. We get them.
Yeah, but if you look, they paved over it, but there was keyboards in the brick.
Yeah.
And when he died, he wanted a roundabout here because he thought roundabouts were really cool.
Yeah, well they are.
Barbara Mandrell used to have a building right there, a tourist building over there. And that used to be tourist trap down there.
So Buddy he commanded his own roundabout. That's great. That's great.
And this is Owen Bradley Park right there. There's a statue of Owen.
I'm going to go and pay homage.
Yeah.
And I know that statue.
Yeah.
From old. I'll go and see that tomorrow. Oh God.
Oh, where am I going? I'm going the wrong way. I'm going to scoot over here and give you another little roundabout tour so you can see where Marty Robbins' studio was.
Yes, please.
You're going the wrong way, mister.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
That's going to hurt.
And then we'll come back up and go down 17th. There used to be a funeral home here. And that's Virginia's Market over there on the left.
Yeah.
Used to call it the Murder Mark because somebody got shot there one time.
Oh, really?
And so this studio right on the right-hand side, right, this building right here, it says Omni.
Yeah.
That used to be the Union, and then Marty Robbins bought it, and that was Marty Robbins' studio. That was the first place I was chief engineer.
Right.
And Scotty Moore was the chief engineer at the time, and he recommended me to be the, Marty's engineer.
Nice.
We're going to go by Marty's.
How long was that association with Marty Robbins?
Till July of 79 till, I think Marty died October 18th, 1983. I think it was 83.
Yeah. So we should consider how huge these people were, right, worldwide and in this country, but just in our country as well. It's the amount of records that Marty Robbins sold worldwide is just mind-boggling. And in these times when records don't sit, or records aren't the saleable objects that they were at that time, Marty Robbins just straddled the world, really.
Yeah.
And it's
Studio 19.
Yeah.
Scotty Moore built was right here. It was a parking lot, and Libby did one of the last sessions at Studio 19.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's no more now than you say one of the last.
They've torn down a bunch of the historical landmarks. See, they're just tearing them all down. And they're building condos.
Why are they doing that?
I don't know. Money. Greed.
Short-sightedness. Because the long money's in.
There used to be an apartment house over here on the right-hand side where Chris Christopherson and I used to go, because you always had bologna.
Yeah.
Sandwiches. People could have bologna sandwiches. And right about here was Pete Drake's studio. It was right here. And then there's a vacant lot. And then Porter Wagner's studio, Fireside Studio, was right here. Look at this. It's just all condos now. It's just a street. Now, Shook Shack and the Fun House is still there.
Yeah.
That's where I produced Skylab Has Fallen. My first hit record in Nashville. That's Marty's office, old office right there.
Nice.
That's Marty Robbins' place. I think he still owns that building. And then here's the music mill. Alabama recorded their records there.
Nice. They just look like ordinary houses. There's bigger houses in the suburbs than there is. They probably went home to bigger houses and they were recording it.
Oh yeah. There's ASCAP. Yeah, it's ASCAP.
That drags everybody's money in from radio and from
same
live performance.
There's a really nice house that's set on that corner.
Yeah.
And your English bloke, Bronson, Virgin.
Richard Bronson.
Yeah, he's going to build a hotel here. But it was Rutledge sold house.
Yeah.
And he was the one that gave me taught me my drills for my first, second, and third degree of being a mason.
See, the Masons in Britain don't say that they're Masons. You know that it's kept very secret, but it seems to be quite open here.
But it's just because he used to live there. and Masterlink Studios, where I did a lot of Ralph Stanley and Dolly Parton and all that. Yeah. This right over there is now owned by Zach Brown.
Nice.
Al Jolson Jr. owned it.
Really?
Yeah. That's a nice studio there. So here's.
So when did Ralph come to town?
Tree Studios.
Yeah.
Ralph Stanley?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Long before you.
Oh yeah, long before me. And these are mostly management offices and stuff. Now here's something. After the Quonset hut went up, here's RCA Studio
That's
B.
where Elvis did all the stuff.
Yes.
When he was signed from Sun Records and came to Nashville.
And here's the RCA building. They built right next to it, like CBS did over at the Quonset hut.
And that was built on Elvis's songs.
Elvis, I mean,
there he is.
Chet's office was right there.
Yeah. Man.
And then here's Reba McEntire's complex.
Cool.
Starstruck. And the Denny brothers used to own all this property.
Right. Music Square West.
Yeah. And that was the U8 tower. I used to have one floor on that tower. And that was built by the Jordanaires.
Really?
Yeah.
Vocal harmonies.
See, and these were all peers, music, and this was all publishing companies and stuff.
The Jordanaires will still turn out to sing a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's Ray Stevens' studio.
Oh, yeah. Man.
And then there's a bunch of studios down to the right. And Quad, oh, you have to go to Quad.
Yeah.
We have to go by Quad. You have to see where Dan Fogelberg and Grub Funk Railroad.
You're talking about childhood.
And Harvest.
Yeah.
Neil
Harvest
Young
was done here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've made a lot of records in Quad.
Yeah.
Some publishing company bought it. But this is it. On the right-hand side, they've taken the name down now, but it's a publishing concern now. But that's where Jimmy Buffett recorded his albums, and Dan Fogelberg, and the night they tore Old Dixie down.
Yeah. That was here.
That was down there.
Nice.
And that was Chet's old building there.
Yeah.
And Zomba Music.
Yeah.
And Battery Studios. The Glacier Brothers had it too after Chet. Around here.
What's the grand Gothic building in the background there?
Oh, that's Sterrett.
Is that a church?
Yeah, it was United Methodist Center.
Because it's Bible Belt.
Oh yeah, big time Bible Belt. Pretty much all the main religions in the United States have headquarters here.
So it's party on Saturday night, church on Sunday morning. Was that the way it was with the musicians you were working with as well?
Yeah.
Yeah? Closed down on Sunday.
Yeah, well, we didn't record on Sunday.
There you go.
And Gaylord Music is there. It used to be Acuff Rose on the corner there.
All right. So and that's Hank Williams and all that
and here's
stuff.
the LSI Studios.
Yeah.
Where
that's a fine looking building, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great building. And then there's banks. A lot of private offices.
Yeah.
You know, for agents and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to pull over here and let this car pass so I can show you where Waylon's studio was. 1111.
I can't thank you enough for this. This is...
Now, see where it says Major Bob?
Yeah.
Major Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's Garth Brooks' manager, but he has a publishing company.
Okay.
That was the studio for Waylon. And the studio, this building on the corner, was his offices.
Nice.
Now that's the famous Ocean Way Studios.
Yeah.
And I had Belmont buy that studio complex so that I would have a classroom on Saturday to teach.
Nice.
It was cheaper than building 3 studios up on the campus.
Nice.
But as you see, most of these things are production companies or clearance companies.
So
this building on the right-hand side used to be Sony Music.
Yeah.
But Vanderbilt bought it, so they.
That's a big building, eh?
That's a big building. Yeah. It used to be a hospital for nuns.
So Belmont now is ingrained in the whole community of Nashville, and
pretty much from here, Music Row. Yeah. Matter of fact, the guy that played drums in my rock and roll band in high school is the CEO, chief surgeon, dean of the medical school.
Nice.
At Vanderbilt.
Yeah, is he still making music?
Yeah, he still plays drums. He's got a bunch of doctors and nurses, and they have a band called Soul Incision. They have a good time.
I bet you.
And of course, when he found out, he put in a liver. Well, we found out we were in the same town. So I couldn't get out of producing his album.
No, that's looking after. That's looking after yourself in the long run.
Yeah, and the bass player that was in the band in high school was the redheaded bass player with Buffett that co-wrote a lot of Harry Daly that co-wrote a lot of the songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are more offices.
So
music companies, publishing companies. Now here.
Yeah.
We'll pull over here because see, it doesn't have any signs or anything.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks owns pretty much all these houses on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And they're remodeling. That's Garth's studio.
Nice. Nice.
Nobody knows it's there.
Yeah.
And I'll show you where Taylor Swift's offices are.
Okay.
And a little Scotty Borchetta, a big machine, is from here all the way down to there. And then that's a buddy of mine plays keyboards with Dolly.
Yeah.
He's got the digital post where they do videos and stuff.
Right.
And you would remember, and that's Big and Loud.
Oh, good. My brother will be really interested in that.
And remember Ernie Ball?
No, tell me about Ernie Ball.
The guitar player? Ernie Ball strings? That's where he used to...
Oh, yeah, the strings, of
That's
course.
where his offices were. That's where and he lived upstairs.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Mary John Wilkins was a dear friend, and she lived back there.
Yeah. So would these guys get together and jam? Without thinking about making music, without making money out of music?
Yeah, I remember Marty Robbins came over one day, and I was doing maintenance. I had to do some maintenance on the equipment.
Yeah.
And he goes, Bill, Eddie, who was the manager, said the studio, he goes, Eddie said that you're working today, and I went, yeah. I said, I'm mainly doing maintenance and stuff. He goes, well then it's okay. I bring some friends over.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, you can do whatever you want. You know, it's your studio, sir. And he goes, well, I'm not going to tell you who's coming over, but after lunch, we're going to bring some people in.
Yeah.
He comes in with the Glazier Brothers.
Nice.
Don Winters.
Yeah.
Bobby Sykes.
Yeah.
And the Sons of the Pioneers.
That's going to sing.
Oh.
That's going to sing.
And I had to get some extra chairs next door from Glenn Sutton's place.
Yeah.
And they all sat around, and he goes, Bill, keep the door open, you can listen, but you can't record it.
No, that's a shame.
They sang,
nice.
You know, for hours.
Yeah. So would that have been Roy Rogers and all that?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
What a privileged place to be.
And you know, Rex Allen.
Yeah.
I was making Rex Allen's, after Marty died, I started making Rex Allen Jr.'s records.
Yeah.
And Rex Allen would come to the sessions when he was in town.
Yeah.
And just great stories. He just...
Yeah.
They were all such nice people.
Yeah, well, that's musicians.
You know, but you know, the hair would just roll up on the back of your neck.
Come on, it is in mine without even hearing the music, man. Thank you so much for that.
Sure.
That was a joy. That was one of the joys of my life.
Good.
Thank you, Bil. Bil VornDick. And Nashville. I love this town. I love this town.
The girls headed right back to supper. I'm coming home, Naoma in time. I'm coming home with you. 'Cause I'm coming home, Naoma in time. I'm coming home with you. Grade school in that small Texas town. The folks left California when their business shut down, and they lived off the land and found love. Though the times they were hard. He went off to college. He worked his way through senior year. They got married. It was May '42, so 2 days after his graduation, he left home for war. Man didn't know the deed, he was jailed in Berlin. And each time he rolled her, he'd sing this again. I'm coming home, Naoma in time. I'm coming home to you. Yes, I'm coming home, Naoma in time. I'm coming home to you. When I sit in his chair or I catch an old Looney Tunes rerun or any Disney at all. Naoma still is. She just turned 92. She has good days and bad days, like all of us do. Little right. She says she'll sometimes see him standing there in the hall. Now she might just be dreaming. This much I know, he'll be another girl and she's ready to go. Say, let's go home. Naoma, it's time. I'm going home with you. Yes, let's go home. Naoma, it's time. I'm going home with you. We'll take a quick break and ordinary elephant gets
pieces of our hearts.
Well, get ready.